things that just mean a lot to me, because then you can't enjoy them. I don't hate anybody. I love everybody.
Hello everybody, this is WarStory video vlog. I am Alex and...
I am Thomas Wittmann. It's so nice to be with you. We were here in my collecting room on Christmas of last year now. It's only a few months ago, but the year changed. And now it's almost Easter time. And Alex thought that he had a lot of people that wrote in and said that they would like to see some of the items in my collection kind of close up.
Yes,
is that the case, Alex?
Yes, yes. And guys asked about like your favorite items, and guys actually asked a lot of questions. For example, how old are you? And what items is the best on your collection? It's like not most expensive, but items you like best.
The things I like the best.
Yes, yes, yes. And it would be great to hear it.
I can answer how old I am. I'm going to be 80 in July.
Sure.
That's how old I am. I guess that's pretty old, but you know what? I don't feel 80. I feel fine. There's nothing wrong with me, so I think I'll be around for a few more years. I hope you can all put up with me.
Yeah, and I really like that dose of positive when I visit you, and I really like to film videos with you and just hang out and being here in this collection room. And for many people, items here from this room are iconic, so that is why also they really excited and asked me to film closer.
I think that's true. A lot of people say that, oh, do you charge admission, or how can I come see your collection? And of course, I don't want everybody coming to my house, of course. It's not a good thing, but I enjoy the fact that the items, I've said before, they have to be displayed.
Sure.
You can't have beautiful items and keep them in a safe deposit box or a safe someplace, because then you can't enjoy them.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. We all work hard to make a living and raise our children, educate our children, take care of our wives, and whatever's left, maybe we can spend on a few nice collectibles.
Yeah.
So why not enjoy them? Because it was hard-earned money.
Exactly.
It always is.
Exactly.
So we're going to, like you say, we're going to show you a few of my favorite pieces, and I hope you'll enjoy them. They're not maybe the most valuable pieces in the world, but they're things that just mean a lot to me, and I enjoy sharing them with other collectors, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So we're going to start out with an old iron box. It sounds awful, doesn't it? Oh, just an old iron box.
But it looks amazing.
It is amazing, and we'll start with that. Okay, this old iron box that I was talking about is actually a real treasure and I believe, a true work of art. It was made in Augsburg, where that town was responsible for making a lot of the medieval armor and just beautiful, even the coffins that the European monarchy are buried in are all made in Augsburg. And they have some great iron crafters there, steel crafters. And this box was produced for a special occasion. You collectors may know the name of Daré. Daré was an Obergruppenführer, and he was in charge of all of the agriculture in Germany. If you were going to war, you had to feed the army. So it was a very, very important position. So Daré was getting married in 1938, and the city of Augsburg wanted to give him a special gift, which in this case was a box that he could house his wedding documents in. So the box is all constructed of beautiful steel, and I think Alex has taken some close-ups of the box, but it's every panel is surrounded with farm scenes, except on the reverse, where the coat of arms of Daré appears raised out of the metal. And look at all the rivets, and I mean, this thing is built like a fortress. And on top of the box, there is an inscription that runs all the way around all of the edges here to Daré. And you can see that the box is topped with a political eagle, and it also has a key, which I think is most interesting. The key itself has a farm scene on one side and a swastika on the other, and it's kind of formed with an acorn top here with the key in between. It's very interesting. And then the box opens up from the top like this, and the inside, of course, is where the documents would have been contained for Daré's marriage. And for those of you that may not know who Daré is, this is an autographed photo of him. He was an interesting man. He actually was not a German. He was born in Argentina, of German parents, however. And he was a well-educated fellow. And actually, after he conducted the agricultural department, I think in about 1942, he was put in charge of the race and resettlement department in the SS. But what's interesting here, I acquired this box back in the late 70s, early 80s, and I was always curious about it. And I knew it was made in Augsburg, so I wrote a letter to the Burgermeister there, asking whether they possibly would know who the craftsman was that made it. And back then, many of the people from the period were still alive, and sure enough, the Burgermeister not only knew the producer of it, but he contacted the man. And the man was absolutely delighted that the box survived the war and that it was here in America. And then what he did, he wrote me many letters about it and so forth, that about what happened. It was made as a handcraft item too, that was entered in a contest and so forth in 1938. But what was really interesting, when the box was presented to Daré, Daré did not like the eagle that it originally had. It was a closed-winged eagle, and he asked that the eagle be changed to an open-wing type. So the producer of the box still had an old picture of how it looked when he first made the box. And then, of course, he changed the eagle to what it is now.
And probably he didn't like it also because of there was no swastika here on the...
Well, this is true. This is true, yeah. I didn't notice that.
Oh, really?
But that's a good point, though. You're right. There was no swastika on it. It's also interesting, too, that the swastika that is on it is the immobile type rather than the rounded type, the earlier variety.
Yeah.
But I think this is a real treasure with full documentation. It still remains in the same condition that it was made in 1938, and it's something that I don't know how I acquire such things. I'm just lucky sometimes, and I happen to be at the right place in the right time. But I've had this box, as I say, since the late 70s, and it's something that I really enjoy. And It's something that if you like craftsmanship and you like artwork and you like the history of the Third Reich, good or bad, whatever it was, it's still history. You just can't help but enjoy owning something like that.
And I think it should be crazy story how this item has been brought back here to the United States, because probably officer or soldier just came to his house and took it.
Said, I'll have that.
Yeah, and probably they just, I don't know, send it as...
Well, it would have taken some kind of special treatment to send it, because this box, I would say, weighs 40 or 50 pounds. It is really, really heavy. So there you go, guys. That's one of my favorite things, and we'll show you something else in a minute.
But this one is really nice. I really like it, and I like that there is so many documents behind this item, and actually it's pretty I'm excited about that fact that craftsman was still alive when you contacted. So this one is really cool. And another one, and another piece of collection, it was Goering boots, and that's cool.
These, as most you collectors know, Hermann Goering came up within the ranks. He was Hitler's favorite for a long time. And through the 1930s and so forth, Goering was a real asset with his brilliance and his ability to organize, and he did a great job in bringing the Luftwaffe to the fearsome group that it was when the war started. So in the beginning, of course, the Germans took the Rhineland and then Austria, and then Czechoslovakia, and then the Holland, and all the lowlands there, and then they went into France, of course, in June of 1940, and occupied France. And at this time, the Luftwaffe, of course, was a very big asset to Germany for all of this. And who was in charge? Hermann Goering. And at that time, Goering had been promoted to Field Marshal, which at that time was the highest rank in all of Germany. But Hitler decided that he was going to create a special rank for Hermann Goering as Reichsmarschall, the highest military rank ever given in Germany. So Hermann, being the way he was quite outlandish with all his medals and beautiful uniforms and so forth. He wanted a new uniform to go with this rank. So the Reichsmarschall uniform was a beautiful powder blue color. And Goering thought that he would like to wear accoutrements that were a brownish red color. He thought that would complement the uniform. So his belt and his cross strap and his boots were this beautiful reddish brown color. And what we have here, collectors, is a pair of Goering's original Reichsmarschall boots. They're a beautiful, beautifully made, and you can see they're pretty wide at the top, because Hermann was quite wide too, and he did wear them. As you can see, they have quite a bit of wear, and these boots originally appeared out on the West Coast in the late 60s. A American colonel had donated an entire Goering Reichsmarschall uniform to a museum, and the museum had forgotten they even had it, or at least that's what they said. They finally found it in the late 60s, and they decided that they would put it on display for 2 weeks, and then they would sell it. So at that time, I was just beginning in collecting, and I was a young man, and The opportunity was there to buy some of Goering's uniform. I was able to acquire these boots for a lot of money then. In fact, it was so much money that I had to go to the bank and take a loan for 3 years to buy the boots. And of course, that was not too popular with my first wife.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe that's why I'm on my second wife. But I think that's an old story with collectors. But you say, oh, yeah, sure. How do we know they're Goering's boots? It could be any fat guy's boots. How do we know? Well, aside from the color, which is unique, they have these beautiful wood shoe trees, which are kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, the way they're put into here. They're in 3 parts. And I have to say, too, that when I acquired the boots, I couldn't get the trees out of them because the boots had been wet at one time and the trees were stuck in there. But I was able to get them out with one of those old steaming tools they used to have to get the wrinkles out of your suit. The wood trees are still in the bottom of the boots. I was never able to get them out. But what I'd like to show you here, assuming that there's enough light, maybe let's go over to the window, Alex.
Yes.
The inside of the boots really tells the story. Just look at the amount of people that worked on making one set of boots, along with the manufacturer, Breitspecker or something. I forget what their name was. There we go. You can see what that is. And then deep down inside, Alex, if you can get this, written in ink, is the name Reich Marshal Hermann Goering.
Oh, yeah. I can see.
And that was put in there before the boots were sewn together. And remember, I told you that the trees wouldn't come out of the boots because they were stuck in there. And I got the trees out, and let's see, that must be the wrong one. Let me get the right one here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, here we go. On the front tree, you can see where the ink has transferred onto the wood, here. You know?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's really cool. I love that. So these are not a fake. These are absolutely Hermann Goering's original boots that he wore with his Reich Marshal uniform. And many people have tried to buy them from me, but I don't want to sell them.
Yeah.
Cost me a lot not just in money, but in a lot of other things in life.
Yeah, sure. It's like
was one of the first major artifacts I ever acquired, and I'll be gone before anybody gets them.
But I have a question, and many people ask me about how much is it, and like market. What is the market price, on your opinion, about this boot?
A number of years ago, a very rich collector was assembling an original Reich Marshal uniform, and he wanted to buy my boots, and he offered me $100,000 for them, and I turned him down. Probably stupid, but they mean more than that to me.
Yeah, but actually, items that really that personalized, yeah.
I mean, if there was ever a true museum piece, you know, this is it. So.
Yeah. That's really great. Thanks for showing. Some of our subscribers already saw it, but I'm excited to see it once again and feel it closer.
I never tire of showing them because I get such pleasure out of it, and I love putting the trees back in again. Sometimes it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Typical German craftsmanship, just goes right in, and that's what you have.
That's cool. Thanks for
I'll show you
showing.
a couple of other Goering items if you like to.
Sure.
One thing that I like a lot, I found this, the boots were here, that's why there's a vacant spot, but I found this porcelain only about 6 months ago
Oh, really?
with the beautiful cobalt blue and gilt Rice Marshall eagle, and then inside Der Reichsmarschall des Großdeutschen Reiches zum January 12th, 1943. So this must have, I don't want to chip it here, but this may have been from a set that was made. I don't know. There may have been more than just one piece. But I think it's extremely beautiful. Really, really beautiful.
And condition is in
The condition is absolutely mint, yeah. And another thing that I like a lot, this is a hunting knife, and you can see it has all hunting animals engraved into the silver on it. It's really quite beautifully done, and a swaz on the top of it, and it's really just a simple knife, simple skinning knife. But this knife was part of the estate of Sir Neville Henderson. Sir Neville Henderson was the British representative to Germany, and Henderson and Goering were great friends. And I'll show you something else too that I think is a wonderful item. This is it's all silver, solid silver. It's a thermometer, and it shows you how hot it is in this room right now. We're almost at 80 degrees. It still works, and beautiful hunting scenes. But then on the reverse of it is a fantastic dedication from Henderson. It's in English, but it has the British coat of arms, and see if I can. Well, I can't really read it, but Alex will get it, so you guys will be able to read what it is. But it's really quite.
To General Oberst Goering, with gratitude for the hunting party. Yeah,
Hunting party, yeah.
For the hunting party, Romington.
Oh, Romanton, that was the estate where Goering. Romanton was the Kaiser's hunting estate, which Goering used a lot. In fact, after the Kaiser died in 1941, Goering took Romanton over. So, but he used it before that time, and Henderson was there many times. So they were great friends, and I think this is a wonderful item.
Yeah, that's true. It's really nicely done, and I like that it's not only Fahrenheit and Celsius also we can see.
Yeah, that's right. It's got both on there.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit and Celsius. And while we're doing Goering things, I like this too. This, of course, is an original Goering silver frame with the Rice Marshall eagle on it. And the picture of Goering in his Rice Marshall uniform is quite common. But what is not common is the fact that Goering wrote a 6-line dedication here, and he gave it to the guard who guarded him in Nuremberg.
Oh, really?
And chances are this is the guard that may have slipped him that cyanide, or at least looked the other way when Goering had the cyanide pill. So I believe this to be a very, very important photograph. And a nice frame, of course, too. And another thing that means a lot to me.
And a couple years ago, I filmed video in a museum where I shown a lot of items from Nuremberg process, also related with Nuremberg process. It's
Yeah.
helmets of guards and pictures with autographs,
Yeah.
with signs of prisoners, and they just soldiers trade these autographs to like cigarettes and bread and
Right.
candies and or cyanide.
Yeah, that kind of stuff would buy a lot of good things in those days. Eh?
Oh yeah, that's true. And thanks for showing all these items. I'm really excited to see it again and film it and film close views and just like touch these pieces because it's really a historically important piece. And when I say historically important piece, I mean this item relate with high leader of like very bad side, but it's very symbolized, like a symbol, you know.
It's true. It's always a touchy subject. Alex and I are not political at all. We have nothing to do with any of the policies of the Third Reich, and of course we disapprove of all of the things they did. But it is history. It's bad history in a lot of cases. But the items that were produced during the period are just they're magnificent and just really I don't know why sometimes guys like myself collect them. I was always interested in history, and I could never understand how just a couple of generations ago something like this could happen. Let's hope it never happens again.
Yeah.
But it did happen, and hundreds of thousands of all the soldiers, Americans, Russians, English, French, all brought something home. And it's still been in their attics for the last 80 years, and it's still coming out of their attics. And these were trophies to them. They risked their lives in many cases to bring these items home. Again, it was not a good period. Nobody endorses it. But the items themselves, if they just stand alone, the craftsmanship is fantastic, and in many cases, the beauty of the items is just unbelievable. And I understand what they represent is maybe not a good thing, but then again, it's history, and we need to preserve history.
And remember all the things and
it's always a difficult subject, and I understand people that say, "Oh, how could you collect such things?"
Last time in Allentown show, there was a few reenactors and one lady from the farm market next door. She came inside the building and she was like, she pissed off on the director that he shown German Nazi reenactors. She just asked why Germans walk around there and laughing and have drinks. Why do you show that? And he answer, there is no Nazis. It was like Polish guys. They victims of Nazis because there was their helmets. It was M16 helmets, and they was like really.
Well, many people
so she was
very excited about that in the in a bad way. I mean, it's they may remember the time if they're old enough, and this was not a good time. It was not. There are reenactors. That doesn't mean that they endorse any of the policies that were held then.
And actually, there was no German reenactors. There was Polish reenactors. So it was like Polish uniform, or for that time looks like German. But actually, about reenactors, if it will be only Soviet soldiers or American soldiers, how we can see reenaction? without
Yeah.
German soldiers. You know?
Well, this is all true, and I
But
guess,
it's
everybody has their thing too. There's many people that reenact the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
They reenact the Civil War, and if they're reenacting Southern officers in the Civil War, does that mean they're for slavery? Of course, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just that was the period.
Yeah, you're right.
It is history, and we can't deny history. I'm not saying we glorify it. That's not the right thing to
Yeah.
do either.
That's true, and that's what we try to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, we keep saying how great these items are, and all which they are, but that doesn't mean that we're endorsing what they represent.
But funny thing about it, all these items, I like these items, and I like German leaders' items or Soviet leader items because it's very rare, and it's kind of competition to get rare stuff. And if you get it finally, you get excited. Yeah,
No,
that's a special feeling because it doesn't matter. Is it like coins or is it something from our field, like from matched weapons? If it's one of a kind, it should be.
I think a lot of it too is not enough time has gone by.
Yeah.
If you consider, let's just as an example, let's say Napoleon. I think that Napoleon probably murdered a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he did.
Sure.
But yet, a couple of 100 years have passed, and now it just becomes history.
Yeah.
And it's going to be another 100 years, maybe before the Third Reich time becomes just history.
Yeah.
And then it may be more acceptable. But in the meantime, until that time comes, we're at least preserving the artifacts so that people in years to come will be able to see what happened and see what was produced and get an idea of what the time was like. So right or wrong, I never felt I was doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
I've always, I've really enjoyed it. I'm a good guy.
That's true.
I don't hate anybody. I love everybody. And I know literally thousands of collectors, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
They're all very, very nice people, honest people. I always say, I don't think in 40 years I've never got a bad check.
And in the end of the video, I want to ask our guys to give us a favor. There are two channels, WarStory Military Antiques and Thomas Wittmann Military. So if you press like button, subscribe button, and text any comment under the video, it will help to promote our channels. And
This is true.
yes, and it would be great because a lot of really serious people look our channels and our videos, and they don't really like to press these like buttons and text comments. But guys, if you like us, please do it because it really helps, and it's
It helps us.
yes.
We do get a lot of people that may not be collectors too, that come upon our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot of emails where people say, I've never collected anything, but I've always been interested in World War II, and I had no idea that you could buy these things. And it just, and before you know it, you got a new collector. So it's, it's very good. And that's always good because the more items that are collected, the more that'll be preserved, the bigger the hobby is, the more people study history. It's all a good thing.
Sure, and more subscribers, more videos, more unpackings, and down the sellers. So
that's it.
Thank you guys for watching this video until the end. Thank you, Thomas, for inviting me for next.
Always my pleasure. I enjoy it.
Thank you. And so, guys, we are waiting for your feedback and see you real soon.